Obama, in blunt terms, tells black men to get over their reluctance to support Harris. It's a bit more than that. I mean, he's scolding black men, being like, why aren't you going to do it? What are you doing? Kamala's got concepts of plan. She's got a plan. So Democrats have deployed Obama. They had to do it. So apparently right now, Donald Trump is making huge inroads with black men. Not so much women, but this improvement it's apocalyptic for Kamala Harris, who's supposed to be this female of color candidate who's supposed to get these demographics. At least that's the Democrat messaging. And it's not working out. I got to say, with the current betting odds, Donald Trump is up 9.2 in the aggregate betting odds. He's up 11 points on Polymarket. I mean, he's up 11 points on PointsBet. He's up 9 on BWin. It's looking pretty good for Donald Trump, especially if Trump's winning over black men to the point where they got to send Obama out to try and win them back, which is not going to work, by the way. It's looking pretty good. What do you think?
It does seem like he's conceding. His face is he's demoralized. That's the way I looked at that video when I saw it.
Obama?
Yeah, he looks defeated.
I think the J.D. Vance far superior to Tim Walz. Like, kind of put the nail in the board on this one. Like that ticket of Trump Vance is so much better than the other two. I was gonna say weirdos, but like Kamala and Tim Walz.
Just say it. You know you want to.
You know, those two strange choices for presidential material. It's not quite. Then you got J.D. Vance, who's like super legit.
I mean, I really think that like when they decided to pick Tim Walz, they looked at him and said, oh, a white guy, so that will work. But they didn't think critically about what he is like, what his positions are. And Obama is now trying to translate this into an anti-woman thing, right? He's saying,
so weird.
You're not going to vote for her because you're anti-woman. You know, you're saying all these other reasons, but that's not really it. You're just biased. And I think that is this gaslighting technique we're seeing over and over again with Democrats this cycle. Not that they don't do it all the time, but like in particular right now, if black men were to go to Obama directly and say, I'm concerned about the economy, Kamala Harris just said she wouldn't change anything about the Biden administration. And in response, Obama would say, no, you just don't like her because she's a woman. I mean, they are unable to hear their voters, and they're really using fear and shame to try and corral votes. I mean, Trump is gaining among black men. He is down among white men. So he has the potential to both gain with black men and also improve with white men and really secure victory. It does not seem like Kamala Harris is going to make the inroads she needs. And so the margins in this specific demographic is much tighter for her and maybe impossible to overcome.
I got an email from the Democratic National Committee earlier at 7:43 p.m., just 20 minutes ago. And it starts off, we don't want to alarm you, but fear, 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 be alarmed, be scared. The campaign of fear just contacted me.
That's typical.
Just to clarify, we call that in the industry, I mean this seriously, a sense of urgency. That's what it's actually called. So
everyone doesn't.
Everyone does it. It's a very, very, it's effective in fundraising and sales.
It can shock you, but I think people have fear fatigue right now. Like Trump's not running a campaign of fear at the moment.
He strongly disagree that people have fear fatigue. That's a constant with people. The idea that just like Tim said, it's about building a sense of urgency. And I don't think that people have a fear fatigue because I think that they're the voting block that they're targeting, they're not actually looking to make them afraid, as in to tap into a feeling of indignation. Like the whole the Kamala Harris campaign focusing on women and stuff like that. They're looking to make people feel like they have been done wrong, which is the whole the Democrats playbook is to look for people that feel like they've been victimized and get them to vote for the Democrats. I don't think that Tim Walz or J.D. Vance honestly has much effect on who people will vote for. I still believe that people vote top ticket first. So it's Donald Trump versus Kamala Harris, and I think the reason that Kamala Harris is falling apart is because Donald Trump and his campaign continue to go on every single platform that they possibly can. He's done a bunch of different town halls and stuff. He's going to be doing a town hall just for women with Fox News, and he's going out there and talking to people, whereas Kamala Harris continues to perform badly in all of the places that she goes. Whenever she's talking, she is not making headway, and she still continues to cater to the same groups. And when she tries to reach out to other groups, it looks awkward and out of place, which we'll talk about that the video today, but she's not doing a good and it's her campaign as
well. And her media blitz isn't
terrible.
doing anything better, which is interesting because I think part of the media blitz strategy was to just put her out there, and so everyone would get kind of muddled with the nonsense that she was saying. There wouldn't be one interview and then several days for the media to pick it apart. They kind of got it all out of the way, and now we can't say that she's never done any interviews because she did them all at once. I disagree in one sense. I think that there is a fear fatigue in America, and I think the hurricanes are really making that contrast acute. This is the fourth anti-Trump campaign the DNC has put on, and he's a known quantity. You can't really make him scary at this point. They tried to with JD Vance. They were like, look, he hates women and cats and whatever else. But they aren't able to really sell that either. And so in some sense, having this hurricane where people are actually fearful. I just looked at a story today where 11 members of a family in North Carolina were just found dead in their home in the wreckage. I mean, the contrast between the manufactured, you must be fearful of this, Trump being reinstated as president because I guess last time was so bad. Like, this fake fear doesn't translate to the real fear Americans are feeling, especially in the last couple of weeks. And so they are starting to turn away from this, you must comply, they're going to take everything from you, because they're looking at things that have actually destroyed
But I think
lives.
Obama has it all wrong, because I actually reckon they've spent the last 4 years convincing Democrats that real women are actually men. So maybe Democrats, maybe the black community actually thinks Trump is the woman and they're getting behind the woman.
Maybe. Let me play this clip. This is Charlie Kirk posted this.
Communities is that we have not yet seen the same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running.
Whoa.
Blowing smoke up his own ass. But it's true.
No,
He's
I mean-
defeated.
I also want to say that seems to be more pronounced with the brothers. So if you don't mind, just for a second, I'm going to speak to y'all directly. And say that when you have a choice that is this clear, when on the one hand you have somebody who grew up like you, knows you, went to college with you, understands the struggles and pain and joy that comes
That she caused by
Joy
locking him
from
up.
those experiences.
Right.
Who's had to work harder and do more and overcome and achieves the second highest office in the land.
I think the most important takeaway is that he said, we are not seeing the turnout that we saw with my run. And a lot of people, the talking point that we've seen, there was an article in the Daily Mail that there were some Democrats, they did a man on the street thing, asked some people on the street, who you voting for? They said Kamala. And they asked him, do you think Kamala can win? And the response was, it's starting to feel like Obama. Joy, right? That's the word they're using. Obama's telling you right now, Obama is only coming out because they need the big guns. A former president, a popular president, to go out and talk to people, to beg them to please go vote, because they know the turnout is down. And it is not like his administration. They don't need Obama if they're winning. They need him when they're not winning.
Obama's charisma is non-transferable. Like, people love Barack Obama. He's very good at speaking, but it doesn't transfer to other candidates. I don't think it definitely didn't transfer to Hillary Clinton. Mm-hmm. It didn't transfer to Joe Biden. The only reason that Joe Biden won is because it was a novel situation with COVID and all of the shadow campaign things going on. It's not that. It's just that Barack Obama's popularity isn't going to transfer. And one more thing, he's talking about, he's talking to black men, trying to get black men to vote for Kamala Harris. What is it that Kamala Harris offers any men? The Democrats have gone all in on hating men. And they know that they have a problem with men. They've been doing it for at least 15 years. And men are, especially young men, are finally like, I'm tired I don't care if you call me names. I'm not voting for people that hate me. And you're not going to be able to convince young men that the Democrats don't hate you when every single time that a woman says anything, you have to say, well, we have to defer to women. We have to defer to women, blah, blah, blah. You're just not going to be able to beat that stigma off with 4 weeks left. She should have been, if they were actually serious about getting rid of this stigma, they should have been working to get rid of it 2 years ago or a year ago. Maybe then it wouldn't be coming back to bite them in the ass. But now they're never going to beat that rap. And it's probably going to take multiple decades, well, at least a decade, before they could convince young men that the Democrats don't hate them. Because first you have to convince women not to hate young men,
right?
Or at least progressive women. You have to convince left-leaning women to not hate young men.
But they have the white men for Harris, don't they? Isn't that a group, white men?
Yes, you're right. It is, but it goes beyond white men. It is men in general. He's talking to black men, and they're falling, or they're not falling, but they're flipping for Trump. Hispanic men are flipping for Trump. It's not about.
I look, those white men for Trump. I'm not convinced they're men.
No, I agree completely.
White men for Trump, you're not convinced.
Sorry, white men for Harris.
I completely agree.
The thing is, Obama's message is effectively like, if you're not going to support Harris, I think you're a bad black man.
Yeah.
I don't think that's particularly motivating.
No.
right?
That's not the normal Obama. That's not the charismatic Obama that.
No, this is like semi-stern Obama, who's also like, I am better than you. And I think that that's not something, men generally, but maybe black men especially, want to hear from this guy. It's interesting because the numbers bear out that black women are more supportive. And this is true, I think, in if it's just men and women generally, regardless of race. But black women tend to be supportive of Harris and black men are not as supportive of Harris. And so the question is like, you're targeting this minority group, black men, and telling them that they are not good enough if they don't comply with what you want. And that doesn't seem like it's a very masculine appeal to me. It doesn't seem like it's, a very empathetic appeal to constantly be saying, like, you don't know what you're talking about and you're just doing this because you're bigoted. Like, this is what men have been told for a long time now, and at a certain point, you're not going to win favoritism with him.
He reminds me of like my mum when I was a teenager, like the guilt trip. It was the final. This is the final plea. I've got nothing
really
left.
To me, like emotional manipulation.
I'm defeated. We've lost. Come on, guys. You're going to make Dad really unhappy if you don't do that. Mm-hmm. Like that's how it feels to me.
I agree.
Sluggish. It's not like for what Kamala Harris should have done, and what inspires people to seize a leader and want a leader is for this hurricane in Florida. She should have been out there. Joe Biden really should have been out there too, empathizing with the people of Florida. Maybe you're going to lose the state. That's the point. You do what you can for people that can't do anything for you. That's the sign of greatness. And they were nowhere to be seen.
That's it right there. These are swing states leaning Trump, and they probably thought, we are in a tight race with a month to go. And if we go do disaster relief right now, we're earning favor with people we know we're going to lose the state anyway. So that's why they reprioritize or they deprioritize. Now, eventually they did go there, but it wasn't priority number one. And I think, Ian, you make a good point.
Because it was Obama in 2007. He would have been talking about them and talking about helping the people of Florida. That was all he would have been talking about for like a week. Because he truly cares about, like, at least at that point of his life. And I think he's an empathetic dude with like, I think he's is altruistic, but was co-opted by the deep state as in his presidency, big time. But he truly cared about people, which is why they supported him.
I'm good at pretending to care. I think he's a great, like his first speech, I think it was in Egypt. I remember watching that and going, this guy, he spoke so well, made you think he cared. But then when you broke down what he said, he was never actually saying anything.
I don't think it's fair to say that Barack Obama is altruistic. I don't call Trump altruistic. I think Trump cares about people. I think Barack Obama cares about people. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend that these are either are some glorious saint or whatever come to save us. I think Trump is better than Barack Obama. I think Trump cares more than Obama.
Obama went in office and he said, when he got into office, my favorite president from the past was Abraham Lincoln. And when he left office, he said, my favorite president from the past is Teddy Roosevelt. So he lost that altruism during his presidency. He was ready to take a bullet for the revolution. And then at some point, big business got a hold of him and he's like, I'd rather live. I'd rather see my kids grow up.
You think that's what happened to Obama?
Yeah. He plaintively said that Abraham Lincoln was his hero going into office.
Yeah, but look at his career. I mean, he's a guy who gets elected to the Senate. And then I remember this when he first got elected because it was confusing to me. They asked him right away, you're going to run for president. And I was like, what? He's a freshman. He's not even in the Senate yet. He just got elected. He was a community organizer, and then all of a sudden, he never even finished his term. He just instantly becomes president. And then, of course, there was a scandal in Illinois where they sold, quote unquote, the seat. So, Blagojevich went to jail for it, which I think he's saying he was set up or whatever, but that's a whole other story.
Trump pardoned him in the end.
Right, that was funny. Yeah, but I never saw Obama as anybody who cared about anything. I mean, the dude is just, he goes in and he's war, drones, expansion.
Well,
it was no different than Bush.
In the very beginning, people think, I can fix the world if I'm the president. Give me the power. And then they get there and like, oh, this is how it works. Like Michelle, his wife, was like, let's do the Let's Move campaign. It's all about cutting sugar out of people's diet. They start to do this campaign. The sugar industry comes to them and they're like, this is Katie Couric's documentary, Fed Up, which you should watch. And the sugar industry's like, okay, you know what? Let's not make it about sugar. Let's make it Let's Move about exercise. Let's not demonize sugar. So Michelle, for whatever happened behind the scenes, is like, okay,
I'll tell you
not
what,
demonize sugar.
I'll tell you what happened behind the scenes. What year was that? That Let's Move.
We should watch that. It's like 2011 or 2010, something like that.
Right. So this is the first term, and the sugar industry goes and sits down with Barack Obama, and the guy drops a folder and he says, Barack, we appreciate what the missus is trying to do with get people to lose weight. Right now, the sugar industry represents, insert 200,000 jobs, 10 million jobs in this country. You get the first lady to start telling people to drop the sugar, you are going to see all of these industries take an economic hit. You are going to see these people lose their jobs. You will not win again in 2012, and people will lose their jobs and suffer. So what we think the correct path is, people shouldn't be sedentary. You can eat sugar as long as you're working out. Why don't we change this? And then they went, man, that's a good point.
Yeah, utilitarian argument. He's the president. Your job really is about the economy too. I understand
it's economic addictions that often what we end up seeing, especially with government bureaucracy, is, look, they're going to go to Trump. He gets elected and Trump's going to say, I want to fire them all. Just get them out. And they're going to be like, that's going to reduce the economy by 0.73% when you fire all these people, and the surrounding economic areas are going to falter. A lot of people, I'll give you a really interesting example. There's better examples in the United States. We have military base towns. I went to Wellington. I think the city is in New Zealand. Is Wellington, right?
Yep.
Auckland and Wellington. And I asked, I love asking when I go to a city, what is the industry of the city? How is this city a city? Because there has to be a core industry there. So for the Rust Belt in the United States, it was auto manufacturing, industrial work and stuff. And I went to Wellington and I asked them, and they said government. It was the taxes of the people of New Zealand being by force taken to Wellington that funds Wellington. So it could really be anywhere.
To be fair, isn't DC? Would DC
absolutely,
be? Yeah,
100%.
But it's probably every capital.
And that's my point. When Donald Trump says we're going to move this building or fire these people, they're going to come to him and say Washington, D.C. as a city is going to lose 100,000 people over the course of 2 years if you do this. Then they're going to lose an additional 200,000 a year later when all the subsequent coffee shops and restaurants can't sustain themselves because they don't have the business if you fire these people. Donald Trump's going to say, and? With people like Barack Obama and Joe Biden, they go, I get it. We want economic growth, and they get addicted to these machines. I think one of the things the deep state hated about Donald Trump is he did not care. He's like, look, like Ron Paul, not exactly like Ron Paul, but a little bit. The attitude is we can't just stay on this system. We have to stop giving people money in bureaucratic positions, and there's no excuse. The excuse is, but we'll go through withdrawal. We'll have economic crises. Figure it out. But we have to stop the bleed. This money is just being spent on garbage, and it's bad for all of us.
Yeah, I think you saw that with Obama bailing out Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac in 2008 during that bubble
It's exactly
explosion.
right. They go to them and they say the auto industry, the housing market, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. Was that Fannie Mae, right?
Fannie Mae. Yeah.
They're basically saying you will see an economic crisis that will define your presidency, and you will never get reelected, and blah blah blah. And Obama just says, "Okay, what do we have to do?" And it's the addiction. It's the same thing with Afghanistan and Iraq. They went to them and said, I know we want to get out and we should have never gone in, but if we leave now, oh, geez, and then these presidents just say, keep on trucking. And what they think they can do is like this Let's Move campaign is let's make leeway, let's make moves where we can, and you can't. Trump comes in and says, nope, we're changing it. And they're like, but you're pulling out the bottom Jenga block. And he's like, don't care. You can't keep doing this. Everything's getting worse. Sooner or later, someone's got to put their foot down and say, it's going to suck, but we're doing the work.
So to tie this in, whether or not Obama was truly altruistic, I got that vibe in the beginning. I don't know if he really was or not, but he seemed like he was like, we're going to pull the Jenga block out. And then we got in, he's like, oh, I can't pull that Jenga block. But like, that's the energy that will get you elected that Kamala does not even remotely even touch the vicinity of.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.